right now I think 96 and 95, or 96, 95, but 105. So 95-ish, 96, or 105-ish is a great place if I'm going to do these grooves to a click. It's a great place to sit with them. So what I want to do in the video, I need a studio concept to really see how well I play to a click. And again, there's different modes of playing to a click. Like there are guys that will play right on, which is what you do, but there's a way to slightly play around it and feel it and stuff, which is an art. Okay? But what I need to do before that really happens, I need to try and work on my left hand. The fact of the matter is because of the shake, I've often been kind of scared of it a little. Like I just, it's so awkward. And it's not that it feels bad, but it just never seems to get better, and I just kind of am sick of bothering with it. What I'm going to do now, here's 96. And 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... I'm just going to do singles with the left hand lead. Letting the left hand set the pace. My left hand took me a little time to line up with the click. But the thing is, the point is to see how comfortable 96 is with the left hand lead. It's a little too fast. It's not as clean. So let's do 85. Really just one-handed that pace. Which is really then, I think, the best way to decide what is a good rate for that. So let me just keep it to the notes that the left hand would do in the 16ths. But that still feels like I'm being pushed. So my left hand really, like I think the fact that I kind of would just like go into it and be like, all right, well for a half hour I'll just go. The fact of the matter is that my left hand I think is really almost like a child, like a 3-year-old that you suddenly can't. If a kid never learned to ride, an adult never learned to ride a bike, you wouldn't be like, well, here's a bike, I know you never learned, it's really easy. I mean, you're an adult now, so let's just go. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, I think my left hand is sufficiently, because of this, or I just always ran from it because of the shake, low on skill and endurance, because simply I never did it the right way. So you're 75. That's in a good neighborhood, but still, it might be helpful for me to start at 65 because there is because of the shakes, slight control issues. Once I get the ball rolling, when it's hooked into me, then it's good. But at first, like just by itself, this is bad. I got on the 8th notes good compared to the clap. I mean, I'm right on it. Against it there, but this tempo. I'm getting ahead of it. I'm a little. Here, what I'll do then is here's 65. Okay, this is the lesson, at least for me. You could probably even go a little slower. Maybe right. So 65 first, 75, 85, and just do 8th notes with the left hand, because as I bring those up, it seems to be like, the fact that I keep trying to do all the speed and stuff and my right hand's leading the way and I'm really pulling my left hand along. But it doesn't seem to be working that way to do it that way. So now my approach is to just work on the left hand and just doing what the left hand's going to do. So 2E and 3E and 4 is just for the left hand then. Give my right, smoke it if it's got it. So just do an 8th at a comfortable tempo, just to even. It's like if you wanted to bench to 225, you wouldn't do the usual 135 and then pop up one. You know, then you do the 145 or the 155. Then you do 175. Then you might try like 195 and you pop up to 205. In this case, with my left hand, it might have to be like, you know, like a 10-pound bar, then a 15-pound bar, and a 20, and like work my way up with my left hand. And 4 and. Shake out kind of like a nervousness that I'm telling you is built into my hand, but I can kind of relax it, I think, or I got to work on that. That's another thing to practice, but funny, even with my left hand, like even at this tempo, it's like I don't even have the grip right. So like it might need like a total rebuild up. I think go down to 50. I'm sorry, down to 60. Left hand. 2. So yeah. Maybe I can start 50. We'll go 50, 60, 70, 80. Just with the left. I mean, of course, I'll still do. But what I want to do is when I do my hand-to-hands, it's important to. I'm just then, therefore, since I'm just working on the left hand, is my right hand will always play the auxiliary, the E and the U's. So, like, wow, like I'm way off, right? But I mean, look at what even that kind of workout kind of does to my hand. Like the shake kind of gets worse. But then what happens is, in a weird way, I hit like a hump, usually. Where eventually it kind of like suddenly will like kind of mellow out. Anyway, we just my German grip, which I think is somehow doesn't, that might be, the German grip in my left hand might be holding it up. Because my right hand, but also too, the German grip is almost like a, it's so designed to really work on really the wrist, I think. It's like to sort of strengthen that whole region without really paying that much official attention to this. And what happens is, I think then when you do the French, it's more natural for people, I think, to work the fingers in anyway, which is an advantage because you learn to think about using your fingers before you would in the German, I think. So, but my left hand now. So, again, I have good days with it and bad days with it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I actually feel a tension like in my arm, like it's actually hard to control that. Like, let me turn this off. At this point, granted I did have a cup of coffee. It's not a lot of caffeine though. One shot of Starbucks caffeine, I think, is 75 milligrams. Versus, I used to drink 2 of the big ventis of regular brewed coffee every day. And each one of those cups has 435, if I'm not mistaken, milligrams of caffeine, which is unbelievably high. I think that's like, it might be like 8 Diet Cokes, I'm pretty sure. Or 10. Anyway, so back to my left hand. And even if I didn't have caffeine, even if I didn't have that one shot, that 75 milligrams of caffeine in my coffee. Anyway, so then let me just change things here. So I'm not doing the German. Maybe my left hand's been maxed out at this point in the whole system of what the wrist can do. So then maybe if I then work on ultimately the fingers and then the wrist in this sort of motion, like that Seth fella does with his like this. I think he just does that really fast, like almost like turning. It's like turning. I think that's what that guy does. God love him. But anyway, so I'm going to do that with my left hand. That might be a more natural motion for my left hand. So, literally, and I used to do this sometimes. I would do this for long periods of time. A long time ago, but I think in my psyche, and probably a lot of people's psyche, what happens with drums, or with stuff, you're almost in denial. Like there might have been 37 times in the past 20 years that I've decided to do this. It's like weightlifting, or if you have, exercising, you never get started. You do it for 2 weeks and you always stop. I think me doing that poor habit, I mean, in the end, it seemed like there were 2 or 3 days or 4 days of nice, hard, consistent practicing. I'd always go off the wagon and just not do it for a year. Then I'd think of it again and not do it for 4 months. And I'd think of it again. And after 2 years of this, sometimes it builds up in your brain, kind of seriously, that you think you've worked so hard on it consistently. And I really haven't. But again, too, the harder I work on it in the short term, I damaged it. Like I was working out. What I decided to do in all my, what I did was I wanted to sort of practice like when Phil Stanger first taught me that. So I just literally wanted to see how fast I could make that go. But then instantly I was kind of like, wow, that's a hell of a lot of stress there. So and then of course that you weren't supposed to do it that way. Stanger, I mean, he didn't say that, but I used to see what it almost looked like to me. Buddy Rich, the stick is like that, but I think what he then does, you have a lot of this finger, like what I was saying before. But anyway, my left hand, then naturally with the finger occurring, theoretically after you do this long enough with the wrist turn, but then what I do is now that I've sort of identified, well, I think the proper way of doing it, then I'll do it slow. Like in this case, maybe instead of trying to go faster and faster, let me just practice it slow consistently. It feels like there's a spider in my shoe. All right, ready? Follow right here. This German. Feel natural. I'm switching it to Frenchish. Okay, just moving it. Let's just say more from this to this. Okay. Turning word. What I'm trying to do now is get to the point where I'm not like So then I get to a point where I try to find a sort of a place where the way your wrist feels, where you sort of get a bounce that you can kind of continue for a long time. It just kind of feels comfortable. If you stumble upon a certain exact sort of, if everything lines up right, you might find by just doing it, stumble upon just the most natural way where just your body knows and your hand knows just not to cause pain or discomfort or use the muscles. But you'll figure out suddenly like a way to. Have to keep by all day long away from the German. I just have to stop doing that with my left hand. Now I'm trying to get it where, like with your strong hand, you'd be like, good enough. Then again, bring your strong hand, maybe, obviously, yeah, your strong hand does it. Kind of that like, now I'm with my right hand going less the turn but more just kind of like a snap. More of a turn. Again, that's not any finger. Anyway, so the left hand, so what I'm going to do then, keep it French. Practice, get a slow tempo on this gosh damn metronome. Oh, God. See, this is. I'd rather stick needles in my eyes. So here we are at 40, okay? Da, da, do, 3, 4. Okay, but now I gotta, let me try. Right now I'm doing my best at this slow tempo, I have to rely on, for me, a more of a open, actually physically controlling the stick, versus kind of like where you start getting sort of closed in a way where you're kind of got like a bounce, you have like an efficiency going. In this case, at least at this dynamic and speed, I gotta just keep doing it to try to find a comfortable. Here, you just find like your comfort zone or whatever at a certain, even at the slowest, and then you find it, and then you slowly speed that up. The thing is there's really with this shake, there really is like a like I actually don't feel it here. Like I feel that my hand's shaking, but the feeling I actually kind of get runs up into my back at this point. So I wonder if it's, it could be, I mean, God knows I'm an anxiety guy, right? Could just be anxiety that just makes this, what might not otherwise be, just like a familial tremor. Maybe most people would shake just a little like that. But because maybe I'm the Irish, look at that, I'm the Irish Woody Allen. I'm going to go in the bathroom for a minute. Woo! No, but look at that. Oh my God. Hang on, it's really, I mean, it's maybe because I'm, okay. That's really where I am right now, okay? Which is partly the coffee, but also the fact that I've been working on my left hand. Not as much. I mean, it happens so much, but it's kind of shook up by like the attention that I've really, I mean, I've just kind of, that's a lot for it. So I can kind of feel sort of the muscle tension up there. So then I'll just practice. This might be the key. I've been trying so hard to do really fast singles, like a la Dick Coley or Buddy Rich, and trying to figure out exactly how they frickin' do it. And the fact of the matter is, it's dawned on me that my left hand is sort of a dud. Like I'm like burning the midnight oil really consistently to make this left hand try to catch up to my right. And I might get up to maybe 680, I think, strokes per minute. I mean, it's not a lot. But I really think what happens is I think I have to start my left hand, again, really slowly and sort of almost bring it all the way up the whole evolutionary chain. And I think that will solve, well, obviously, I think that'll solve my singles problem. All right, so that's what I'm working on. Dribble a basketball sort of feeling, not literally, but like you got like kind of it just happens. Really, really great drummers, I'm sure this obviously is faster and more efficient. For me, it's going on. French. I'm going to try and with my right hand then alternate between a French. Sort of using my finger, like almost like when you see like that Chester Thompson video. I don't know, man. The whole time in that video from like 91 or whatever, his hands are like this. And he's doing these singles around. I don't know how the hell he did it. But anyway, more of that, okay? More or less thumb up, but a combination of sort of the whip, like that kind of, it's a slightly different version of where you're really forcing like that thing that Seth fella does. This is almost like just look at my hand. It's almost like a rubbery, it's like if you have a stick with a little sack of like loose rubber on it. And you start going like this. It sort of flops around. Like a very efficient version of that clown guy. That the gas station or whatever keeps like blowing up like that. You could actually probably synchronize, if you could, eventually there'd be just an optimal place for that to move. Like, you know what I'm saying? Seriously. So, find that optimal place. With my left hand, I don't think I can. I'm trying to find the optimal place slowly. I think I have to then, ironically, then speed it up a little to see if I can find the way that my right hand kind of was doing. So I'm trying that, the combo of that wrist with the finger, but now into the left. See, now I'm finding this really, really hard. Like my left hand just isn't really good at my right hand. My left hand, you know what I mean? So I have to really, analyze your playing, just kind of figure out. Like this is really ultimately a no-brainer, because single stroke. So you go between hands, and obviously Moeller and all these guys, Jay Burns Moore. I mean, all these guys, these smart technique people finally realize, and it's the most common sense, is to do one hand at a time. Obviously, I mean that's simply what this is. But it really dawned on me that I think this is really going to have to be one hand for a time. I might have to really work on this hand. A lot. So that's what I'm going to do. And work on the slowing it down, making it more open. Remember, closes. I know they say close is fast, which it is, but you have an efficiency there. You're slowly then you're really going to where you're actually physically with your hand forcing the stroke. What I consider open. So that's German. I'm trying to see it at a much slower tempo if I can kind of nail the. Find a comfort zone-y Germany grip. I can do that with my right. Slow. So I think this is how. I'm hoping I'll set myself a goal. Honest to God, I'm going to see if I have to go slow with this though, because I hinted before I'd messed my wrist up a little. Yeah, I'd started that story, it never came back. But my right hand can see that motion, which I shouldn't do. I mean, obviously, I was trying that same motion just because my right hand could do it. See, my left could. Did it all weekend long, in sessions of practice, and ever since then, I think I have a tendonitis issue. Jeez. So. But it doesn't at all seem to be exacerbated by me working on the German thing, which is nice. So that's my plan. Once I really get the motion and the mojo and the natural sort of, if a basketball player is really good dribbling with his right hand, but I think most might, or at least lower level basketball skilled people or drummers, just never really well, my right hand is good enough, why pay so much attention to my left? But of course, single strokes and all rudiments are between the hands. Then I'm doing the between the hands at a nice and cozy, comfortable speed for my left hand, and my right hand's just going to have to sniff and go along with it. That would be a left hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and. For me to do for 5 minutes. So ultimately, when you find the nice, comfortable sort of, not because of speed, but because of efficiency sort of close, eventually then what you'll do is you'll learn to synchronize that up with your right hand, and with continued practice, your right hand will your strong hand will be sort of comfortable in the role of being the left hand's butt boy. You find that I have to do that. Okay, that's part of my plan, but I suspect that's the way that would work. So then what happens is, and then I think what happens is, according to conversations I've had with those great, highly speedy singles people, or at least a couple of them, that once you actually get, I think this is what they said, you get more speed when both hands are going. That's why often you won't see a really fast single guy necessarily. He'll go faster, I think, doing both hands than he will necessarily one at each time. I think that's what happens, because there's a whole sort of like just a back and forth energy, like in like in a tub. Like you're just going, and that sort of bionicizes it, doing singles. All right. So, but I have to start slow. What's my deadline? It's a long time. September 1st. Okay, I'm going to practice this religiously. I make a solemn vow. I'm posting this video. It's forcing me to do it. Practicing my frickin' left hand consistently. I hereby promise, consistently, loyally, and faithfully to execute pampering slow exercises for my left hand. When I achieve some sort of closed in form, like a comfortable thing, then I hereby will work my right hand in. Slow as it takes, for the love of God. Left hand 1 and 2, left hand lead. Really open and sort of awkward. My right hand shaking too, but just do it at this frickin' speed. Again, my ADD would. Again, what I've done it at this speed. I do it for a day or two, and I get so frustrated with it, or I just forget about it, and I go on, shiny bunny. So I hereby make this a priority. I'm officially putting it on the record. So let's see if September 1st I have the mojo. We'll see. And that's okay? All right. So I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. We'll see. But see, my whole point is I kind of wanted to do it. So, oh yeah, people ask about these hi-hats. Might as well do this. Okay, the hi-hats I have. What happened? Check this out. Okay. What I do with this particular pair, which isn't necessarily a pair, what I do is I have a couple tops, I use a couple bottoms and slide them out. A lot of people do that. This is an early, no, the serial number's not on there yet, but I'd say maybe like an 80, maybe an 81 or 2. Earlier, the earlier 5 or 505 stuff was tighter grooved. Well, there were the main regular grooves that they all have, like those finer ones that go all, but these sort of 2002-y, well, which is exactly what they are, evenly spaced, is in the 505, they're evenly spaced. Let me just hit it fast. Here's a later one. See how wide those, don't fall. See how wide those grooves are. I don't know if you can see. Now see the little teeny ones, like the giant beady, okay? But then maybe every, in this case, maybe 1/3 of an inch, okay? Okay, that's the later one. This is a 1984, okay? But this being no serial number, really tight, from my experience, it's like an 81 or 2. Okay, no serial. I use this as a top because I find this to be, it's heavier than an authentic, definitely heavier than a 70s Black Label top, because here what I have then is my 15-inch 2002 Soundage bottom, okay, 1977. So, classic Sound Edge. Here's the thing. This is by 77. They went to 38 ripples, more or less. I don't think I've ever seen any fewer than 38, but pretty much I think 38. So start here, you get around, like, oh, well, there's 17, and you go, oh, 7. That's 34. I guess you'd go 18, right? Is that how that works? 18 twice? 36. 18 and a half? No, 19, right? 19 is 30. I should know that because of darts.